It's Wednesday, June 19th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Little Witch Academia.
Let's do this.
So you might remember we did a panel a while ago, and we've done this often, at conventions.
We've done a lot of panels. Which one
especially
are you talking
anime
about?
conventions. I realized we've done like 150.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And that's even if I just count the ones we personally actually did, not any of the sort of like ghetto panels we did at like a Kineticon or anything when we were filling a room late at night. That was like legit on the schedule, our names on it. But I digress. One we've often done is the How to Run a panel, and we talk about things. And I realize there's a meta piece of advice above all of that. A panel, show, lecture, or workshop at an anime convention is guaranteed to be bad if it has any of the following criteria. 1, it involves Hetalia. 2, it involves asking the people anything.
It's not guaranteed. There could be the one good Italian panel.
There could be. I've never seen it.
Okay.
It's one of those things. There could be a perfectly workable implementation of communism.
Yeah, in
Could
a very
be.
small place with like 10 people who are
Really,
all communist with each other.
There have been a couple of anime cons lately, and I'm not going to name any names, that denied some pretty good, serious, or interesting content, but yet had room in the schedule at good times for things like Hetalia Askination, a.k.a. 6 girls in costume giggle about gay jokes for 45 minutes and then open it up to questions from the audience. Or anime parliaments or court cases or things like that.
You allow those at Kineticon?
Yeah, we do. Now, I'll admit,
I've been fighting to have less of those at Kineticon.
I think we've cut them down to a substantial degree, and I tend to put a lot of them either at bad times or at times when I need to get the people who go to those things out of the hallways. But really, if you're an anime con where you get a lot of good anime submissions, or at least any anime submissions, specifically with the Ask a Nation panels, you're better off leaving the room empty than scheduling that shit. If you want to raise the brow of your convention, that is how you do it. Because making that stuff be an official part of the schedule in a panel room really encourages more of that kind of stuff to be submitted. And it would be fine if it was actually cool, but it's just people giggling on stage for an hour.
Yep, that's what it is.
But
that's what the people coming to the con want.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a self-feedback loop. Meanwhile, at Kineticon, because we keep forcing in all this sort of like academic content, most of our anime panels are the Charles Dunbar style panel, and suddenly we're getting a lot more highbrow submissions as time goes on, and a lot more people are going to panels than they used to.
They're all people we know that are running the panels mostly.
No, we've branched out to friend of a friend at this point.
Whoa.
Well, I guess professional
nepotism
friend of a professional friend.
Non-bilateral. What do you call nepotism if it's friends and not family?
It's still nepotism.
Preferential treatment.
Really,
Corruption.
all you've really got to do to be good by me is spell most of the words correctly and not be about Homestuck or Askination. And about Homestuck would be fine if your thing wasn't the same as Askination, just with Homestuck. Anyway, I'm kind of annoyed that I'm seeing conventions scheduling more rather than less of those, and yet I know that panels that they could have had that were objectively better in every way were not scheduled.
It's a lowbrow convention that does that.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yep.
They're doing it on purpose.
So anyway.
Yeah, there's not a lot of news going on, at least not that I know of. But I want to GeekBite something. You know what? I haven't really watched a lot of anime or read a lot of comics lately.
I've been watching anime. I mean, Emily and I did that show on Shinsekai Yori now that we finished it, and moving on to either...
Notice I wasn't on that show because not watching a lot of anime.
Yeah, Captain. I'm moving on to, I think, either... I don't know. There's 2 or 3 shows I might watch next.
Anyway, but one comic I did read recently was... Adventure Time comic.
I have not read the Adventure Time comics yet, except the one that I have a copy of because Yuko Nanath did the side story in it.
I have
Marceline and the Scream Queens.
I ordered basically all the available trades, and I got the first trade, which I read.
Yep.
And basically, all I can say about it is it's a lot like, say, the Simpsons comic or the Pony comic, where it's the show more of in comic form, slightly different, right? where there's more sorts of, it appeals to a narrower audience because it is in the comic medium, right? As opposed to the show, which, anyone and everyone is watching it. But not so narrowly as, say, the Simpsons comic, which will make, like, comic book nerd jokes more heavily than the Simpsons show.
Yeah.
To where, say, only a superhero fan might understand, like, a Radioactive Man comic. If you read Adventure Time, you will get the Adventure Time comic, right? But if you're not in Adventure Time, the Adventure Time comic might not be the best place to start, right? It's like for existing Adventure Time people.
Well, it's funny. For a non-serial show, you really got to have seen a bunch of it to be able to really get why some of the things that happen in later episodes are funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not the same kind of self-referentialness you get in, like, a Venture Brothers or an Archer.
No.
It's more like, because you know the character, things are funny, as opposed to they're referencing the ants again.
Exactly. So, if you're an Adventure Time person and you've watched all Adventure Time there is and you want more Adventure Time, you should probably read the Adventure Time comic. You can basically consider it part of Adventure Time as far as I'm concerned. And I've noticed this has been happening more in recent years, is a lot of TV shows, when they're sort of done, they continue in comics, right?
What, like The Simpsons? Oh!
No, I mean, like, well, for example, right? Like, Buffy season whatever is in, from, I don't know how many seasons it was on TV. I'm not a fan of it anyway, but
I watched 8 episodes.
Yeah, basically it continues in comics canon, right? X-Files, there's a season that continues in comics after the end of the, right? All these, that's sort of a thing that
comics
people do.
one have a lower barrier to entry to, like, start it. They have a lower maintenance to continue going as long as you own the license to it.
Yep.
And especially if it's something that's nerdily popular, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get a cavalcade of pretty good artists and writers who would be more than happy to take up the mantle and keep making it.
Yep. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it's there for you.
The Adventure Time comic is pretty great, but if you think you're not an Adventure Time person, you haven't watched it yet, you should watch it. It's actually, now that Ponies is kind of in a free fall, we'll see what happens with season 4.
Free fall? I mean, Ponies already splat as far as
No, because, all right, so forget Equestria Girls, because that's basically an OAV.
Sure.
And you know how OAVs go.
Uh-huh.
Season 1 and 2 were great. Season 3 was
Uh-huh.
So really it comes down to whether or not season 4 picks up.
But well, if you don't watch Equestria Girls, you're not going to know what happened between season 3 and 4.
I have a feeling that she gets her crown back by winning the prom queen, whatever. And whatever reason that girl who stole her crown had was actually some demon inside of her that's overcome with the power of friendship. Somehow, I think that's how it's going to go. It's basically going to be the Sailor Moon movie.
Someone told me that
die.
it's Twilight, basically has to earn the crown. She learns how to be a princess in the human world.
But the princess of a prom is the worst way to learn how to be a princess.
I didn't say it was. Someone just told me that's what it's about.
Right
on the
now,
internet. Some internet guy said that.
Right now, I think Adventure Time is my favorite television show that is currently ongoing, period.
For me, my favorite
because
television
Ghost in the Shell
show
has not started yet in a form that I can watch.
For me, my favorite television show that is currently ongoing is NHL Stanley Cup Finals on NBC.
Okay.
And my second favorite,
Adventure Time is my number 2.
My second favorite TV show that is on television
I have a feeling
right now.
It won't be long. Wait a minute, no.
It's Running Man.
By the time the Stanley Cup ends, Adventure Time is going to be almost done too for the season. So
and South Park's up there as well.
South Park's not running right now.
When is South Park going to run again?
I don't know how TV seasons work in the U.S. anymore.
Me
All I
either.
know is occasionally there's
And
new
South Park is weird because they split everything in half.
Yep. But honestly, right now, Venture Brothers, the new season, 1, the first episode is just an hour-long movie. And 2, they have upped the game on making that show. The new season of Venture Brothers actually catapulted it from a show I really liked to just under Ponies, Archer, Adventure Time. So I had a GeekBite myself because the show we're talking about was part of the Young Animator Training Project. So we'll talk about that in the main bit. But Emily and I, the other day, watched The Old Man's Lamp, Oji-san no Ranpu.
That sounds good to me.
So You should watch it.
Is it a magic lamp or is it a lamp like, oh, the new lamp is much better?
So the new lamp is much better. Here's the rough plot. One, it's animated beautifully. It's well done. I like almost every aspect of it, but it's unintentionally hilarious at a couple of points.
Unintentional. So it's trying to be serious, but it fails?
Not quite. You really got to watch it. But the story is basically a kid finds this thing in his attic and starts fucking around with it like it's a laser gun. And then the grandpa's like, give me that lamp, you ass. And then later he tells his son...
It's a flashlight?
The story of the lamp. And it's this old oil-burning lamp from, just when Japan was starting to become westernized and people didn't really use lamps and electricity wasn't available everywhere yet. So this kid starts selling... Like he sees a lamp, he makes a deal, and he starts selling lamps to people in Japan and makes his industry around it. But then electricity's coming. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically the buggy whip manufacturer's dilemma, but it's really well done. It's really good. And all I want to say is when you get to the end of it, they don't tell you really what came next, but I assume that grandpa became a pimp.
Okay.
You should watch it. It's great. If you're a fan of anime or animation at all, there is literally no reason not to watch this. In fact, the whole thing's on YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm. That sounded a lot more like a thing of the day than a news.
Well, I do have a thing of the day, but that was a Geek Bite. I reviewed it. I don't review my things of the day. Mm-hmm. It is assumed that they are awesome, but the Young Animator Training Project, Oji San no Lampu, is great, and you should watch it. That is my review. My thing of the day is the good night for flying kind of prank that I like so much. Mm. It's a really simple prank, too, and I urge all of you to do this to people. Basically, they get this guy, and he has a hood on, like a hoodie, and he stands in the elevator.
Like a Sith Lord.
Yep, just staring, straight face, just standing there, kind of creepy. And every time the door's about to close, he just waves his arm very subtly.
Sort of like that old video where the guy's the magician, he's moving the subway with his hands.
Yep.
The psychic powers.
Exactly.
Move, subway, move.
And then the doors just magically open, and the reactions of the various people are great. One guy's like, the force is strong with this one, and he kind of laughs, but then he kind of backs away from the guy.
The other guy's like, you Neo or something?
And then he's like, can you do it again? He does it again, and the guy's like, oh shit. Whoa.
Whoa, dude.
But just watch the video. If you can't figure out how they're doing the prank before you watch the video.
Okay.
Then,
can you see the bear playing basketball in this?
This is my kind of prank. I hope to all the gods they never explained to anyone in those elevators what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't make it Star Wars, though, because I'm a big fan of creepypasta lately, if you couldn't tell.
Okay.
So if I was going to do it, I would have the guy just be kind of creepy and twitchy, just sitting in the elevator, and every time the doors go to close, he'd be like, no, open, and then the doors open again. Because then it's also creepy. It's like, then the prank is more like, instead, no one would think Star Wars. They'd think, is this guy psychic? Like, is this that moment? Is this like that scene in the movie where that guy's about to flip out?
Okay. So what is my thing of the day? Well, here's an anime known as Turning Girls, and this is episode 1 of Turning Girls. And episode 1 of Turning Girls is free to watch on YouTube and has some built-in subtitles, and it's a 5-minute show. You know I like those tiny animes.
We got to add this to our panel on Bite-Size Anime.
Yeah, along with Inferno Cup.
But
anyway, this episode is about basically this girl who, thinks she is an idol, and I guess is the least popular idol in all of Japan. And she works at a maid cafe, and there's these 6 people, 3 dudes and 3 girls, who are on sort of a group date situation at a nice Japanese, bar or whatever. Like you do in Japan, right? And one of the girls invited Kaoru, who is the idol girl, and the rest of the episode's about her being her, and yeah, watch it.
It's funny because I asked Scott about 3/4 of the way through, and I quote,
"This could be classified as dangerous almost."
So does this end with them shooting her?
This could be classified as dangerous.
It's pretty dangerous, but what's, I guess, extra dangerous is that Emily and I had a big trip to Japan a while ago, and we went to a maid cafe, and you know what? They sound, look, and act Exactly like that. So imagine being in a cafe where everyone who isn't sitting is acting like that 110%.
Uh-oh.
That is what it is like.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, meta moment. The book club book was Player of Games, Ian M. Banks. The show is up. You should read the book if you didn't.
What's the new book club book?
The new book club book. I'm still deciding.
You suck.
Partly because I really want to do the thing that I talked about before.
Do I have to just decide for you?
Nah, well, the thing is, if you push me at all, it's going to be the fucking Count of Monte Cristo or Ulysses or some shit.
You can't be Ulysses.
I could do Ulysses. I've never read it.
That's the one.
Have you ever
that
read
is
it?
the only book that is not allowed permanently on any book club.
Have you ever read it?
No plan to.
How do you know it's not great? Like Gatsby.
How would you like to bet on it?
Well,
Could you
thing.
even finish it while we're still doing Geeknights?
I don't know. I blew through the Count of Monte Cristo.
Let's
in
make
like
it
2
From
weeks.
Hell by Alan Moore. How about that? How would you like that? I finished it.
You know, you really want to
Don't ask me
play
about
this
it.
game. You really want to play this game, Scott. I'll just pick one of my nonfiction history books, and you will fucking hate me, all of you.
I just won't read it.
You're not going to read the book club book?
Not if it's like Peter the Great, 10,000 pages.
Actually, that Peter the Great book is pretty great. No, it actually is really great because Peter the Great is kind of a funny dude. And when they went to war with Sweden, the king of Sweden was kind of a moron. Anyway, that was our bathroom reader for a while.
Your bathroom reader. My bathroom sigh and look at her.
You know how many people in Beacon, when they'd come over, they'd come out of the bathroom, they'd be like, so, the only book in your bathroom is a biography of Peter the Great. And I was like, yup. They're like, so did you just leave it in there by accident? I was like, nope. But yeah, Kineticon, we'll be there doing a bunch of panels, running the panels department along with Kristen. Shit's going to be awesome. We're going to be at PAX Ost doing on Friday at 1 p.m. in the Wombat Theater, Beyond Dungeons and Dragons. We're putting in our stuff for PAX Prime. We got 1 or 2 good offerings probably in the making. Still working on our PAX Dev stuff. Join our forum crap. Watch our videos. Watch one of our Anime Boston panels. We uploaded it. Anything else? Any meta?
I can't think of any other meta.
No meta?
No.
No meta. So, the Young Animator Training Project. Basically, Japan, the Agency for Cultural Affairs, Emily told me about this a while ago, and we've been meaning to actually watch all these things, put together a couple $1,000,000 and set up a fund to basically train animators on the job. So here's some money, make some animation. Mm-hmm. And there's more details to it. I'll link to the Wikipedia. But basically, like I said, that The Old Man's Lamp was one of these from 2010, Project A.
Yep.
The show we're reviewing tonight that Scott and I both just watched was from this year, Little Witch Academia.
So Little Witch Academia is from a studio called Trigger, which seems to be a recently created studio. And the other thing that they made is Inferno Cup.
Inferno Cup.
Which is very important and dangerous, and you need to watch that ASAP. But we're not going to talk about Inferno Cup. We're talking about Little Witch Academia, which is made by Trigger. And it seems to me that Trigger is sort of this, Japanese anime studio, and it may not be making the best anime in the universe like Ghibli or any, IG or something, but they're making damn good animes, and they seem to actually understand the kind of animes people want to see, especially in the US, and they seem to be hip to the modern world and the way the internet works. I mean, Inferno Cop was free to watch on YouTube with subtitles. Little Witch Academia is free to watch on YouTube and other places, at least until the end of this month-ish, right? And I think even after the end of this month, it's still going to be on Crunchyroll to just watch with subtitles, right?
Well, Scott,
They really get it. And the anime they make are the kind of animes that appeal to modern people of the internet.
so you know who founded Trigger,
But they're
right?
not fan servicey. Who would that be?
2 ex-Gynex guys.
There you go. So how about that? These people seem to know what's up. So, Little Witch Academia is, like Rim said, the young animators, whatever, fun.
Wakate animeta ikusei projecto.
Right. So, Trigger got some of that money, and they made this 20, 30-minute short called Little Witch Academia.
Which, pretty high production values. Which also, actually, the lamp one, also pretty high production values.
Mm-hmm. And we watched it just now, like 5 minutes ago.
So again, we're not gonna spoil because it's a short. Just
What
watch
are you gonna
it.
spoil in that short?
But even then, like, just watch it. If you're even listening to Geek Nights,
You could watch it in less time than it would take to listen to the rest of this Geeknights episode, probably, maybe.
but seriously, we say this every time we review a short OAV, a movie, a short. If you're an anime fan at all, there is literally zero reason to not watch these things. There aren't that many things like this. You can watch them easily. You can watch them quickly. They're self-contained. And we already told you they're good. Have we ever lied to you? Have we ever said something was good and you legitimately thought it was not good, or at least didn't understand why we said it was good?
And if that's the case, why are you still listening to Geeknights?
I mean, maybe there's all the Ava haters.
Maybe.
I mean, we've told people things were bad that they thought was good, but that's the separate problem. You want the filter that's too narrow, not the filter that's too broad.
Exactly.
So Little Witch Academia, in my mind, it's adorable because it starts kind of in media res. It does the right thing. It doesn't tell you shit. It basically just shows you everything. The little world that they've set up for this 26-minute short just sort of unfolds in front of you, explains itself, and then ends. The story begins. Everything's foreshadowed elegantly, to a T, in fact. Every scene serves a purpose. Every scene is beautifully animated. Mm-hmm. The characters are funny. They remind me of the tropes, just like in, I don't know, Princess Tutu, Utena, trying to think of other shows that have these similar sorts of tropes.
Yeah, this thing pretty hits. It hits on all these standard anime formulas and things that I've seen a million times before, but it hits them in the perfect combination and executes each one exactly right. You know, I mean, you've got, little girl who's, not sure. She looks up to some, super magic, and that's what she wants. She has some goal in the future. I mean,
but the super magic is basically an idol, and no one else respects her.
Right. It's like, where have I seen that before? I can't think of one right now, and I feel dumb. But I feel like I've seen that in 100 animes before.
But it's got the right, shows like this, shorts like this could be really pedestrian, and this one isn't because it's got a lot of style. The characters are all very different, drawn very differently, and have very different personalities, and some dark shit just kind of happens in the course of all this. And like, not to spoil, but one of the girls who's kind of Kitaro looking, I think she's my favorite character.
Oh, that's your favorite one?
That's my
really?
favorite one.
Okay.
Because there's this moment where they're fighting this Minotaur, and she's just like, I'll just poison it. And the poison's effects are horrifying. And she's just like, I guess I made that a little too strong. And everyone around her is like, oh my God, what did you just do? I think she's going to grow up to be evil.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing is you have all the, this usually animes like to have a cast of characters, one to sort of fit every different mold, right? You need the full set. And this one sort of at the one time, right? It doesn't bring in some of the ones that are usually there, like the wacky, annoying person, not there. Right. On the other hand, you think it's bringing in some of the other typical ones like bitchy, annoying person. Right. Which I guess is Diana or whatever.
Yeah. But she does the full Nanami arc in the course of this little short.
Yeah. It's just like within this, very, very short episode, it's like she covers everything. And it's like, oh, OK, she's not really that annoying anymore.
Yep. Well, also, I like the fact that her confidence and her arrogance was kind of justified.
Yeah.
Because she was just better than everyone else.
She was just better than everyone else. There's no question about that.
Yep.
It's not like one of those situations where it's like, oh, it was sort of like, is she, what's it called? Silver Spoon and...
No, because they've got no redeeming qualities.
Exactly, right? It's totally leaning the other direction, while hinting that she might be like that, but she's not. The main character is pretty typical, right? Sort of like, clumsy, not as good as everyone else, has to really improve. But not, it's not one of those cases where it's like the main character is the generic every person that ends up being nobody.
Yeah, she's got a pretty distinct... Okay, I'm looking at the internet. I'm not the only one who thinks that girl has the same hair as Fluttershy.
Which one?
The creepy one.
What?
Yeah.
Now I totally see it, and I didn't see it before.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what else I see?
Oh my god! All the fan art of her is her poisoning people too.
That's what she does. I kind of like that because I make jokes about poisoning all the time. So
I think we picked that up from Utena.
Yeah, but I mean, so to have someone who's actually a poisoner, and that's like their special attack, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's like in Madoka when someone's special attack initially is, I'll hit it with a golf club over and over again.
Yep.
But yeah, I think specifically if I wanted to say something about this short, because again, it's too short to say much more, it's very well animated, and the animation is really stylized and cartoony in a good way. The characters make great faces. Stuff doesn't appear to be reused. Like this dragon at the end that keeps growing, keeps getting drawn completely differently as it gets bigger.
Yep. That was something I was really impressed with, actually, is like, it's like, oh, obviously this is the stereotypical case of you did the wrong thing to the bad guy, so it keeps getting stronger. But then it's like, oh, actually, instead of just making it bigger, they keep redrawing it. And it kept getting bigger and bigger constantly. Like every few seconds, it's a completely different monster, right? Even though it's still the one bad guy, it just changes so fast. And they're so creative in the ways they make it bigger, and instead of just increasing the size, changing the shape while still making it completely recognizably the same guy. It's like, oh, that's pretty awesome right there.
Now I have to say too, the pacing is really good, and every time it gets to that moment where a more pedestrian anime or short would immediately like, oh, now they're gonna do X, and I gotta wait for X to resolve because that's what always happens in shows like this. It would basically immediately cut or move on to the next plot point. And the plot happens basically immediately. I have nothing bad to say about this thing at all.
It was definitely not a waste of my 20 whatever minutes
of time. If this was a 26 episode show, I would watch all of it without even thinking.
Yeah, probably. It might not. The thing is, if it was a 26 episode show, it might not be an A show.
But it would be a solid B.
It would be at least a B, and I would definitely... it's like if there was an episode 2, I would want to watch it right now, no question.
If every episode were like this, a complete self-contained story like that, with that
especially
level,
since there are still so many things yet to be revealed that were alluded to.
And there's so many little touches, like the better girls have those like portable brooms that they just stick on their wands and go.
Yep.
And all these little things just kind of there. And even at the end, the thing that we guessed that was correct was revealed to be correct, but it was revealed to be correct in the appropriately subtle way. That is so rare in the modern, don't show me something when you can tell me with a long monologue style that I see so often. Also, I like how the girl didn't seem to wake up in the beginning when the teacher knocked her over.
Yeah, whatever.
Also, here's a picture that was, in fact, a My Little Pony they found in that room.
Okay.
So I wonder if there's this My Little Pony in it, and the one character's
They also
hair,
made a joke about Magic Kindergarten, which is a My Little Pony joke.
Yep. And the main girl, I was thinking Twilight Sparkle just because of the way they were interacting, probably because of that kindergarten joke.
Wow, that is a Twilight Sparkle. Right?
Yeah. And the other girl's hair looks like Fluttershy. I bet the people involved in this are fans of My Little Pony.
It's possible.
There's no way they're not.
It's a greater than zero chance.
I mean, look, this is a key frame. She picks it up, looks at it, then it falls apart and bugs come out of it, but... So yeah. Watch this thing. Seriously. Like right now, if you're an anime fan, just watch
seriously, it. Unless you're like driving to work or some shit, you are not doing anything right now. You can go to your computer for 20 minutes and watch an anime. That's good.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.